Hey, what's going on, Knights? Critical Redemption here, bringing you another review with a special guest. His name's Kyle, and he's going to be reviewing Banjo Tooie with me. Introduce yourself, man.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? I'm a huge fan of Banjo Tooie. It's actually one of my favorite N64 games of all time, and yet I do prefer it over the original by a lot.
And this is why I'm bringing Kyle in to review this with me, because he's very dedicated to the Banjo franchise, and I'm really excited to see what both of us will think about this game. Kyle, are you ready to give these gamers what they expect?
Oh yeah, go for it.
Alright, so we're about to get into this review and let you guys know what both of us think about this game. So let's start off with the story. Here we go. Alright gamers, so the story is a lot different from the first game. The second story takes place right after the first game. Starting out at Banjo's home in Spiral Mountain, Tootie begins a couple years after the events of the first outing. So think about it just right after the first outing. Banjo and all his friends are all snug and safe playing cards in a house, but then Grunty is still wedged firmly under a boulder. So she kind of comes back to life. Remember when you first defeated her? Klungo's despairing over her mistress. He just constantly is crying and crying and wants to get her out of that ditch, which of course just means things are about to get worse. And promptly on the scene arrives Grunty's gruesome sisters, Mingella and Blabella, two ugly mountain witches, bring her back to life, get the rock over her, and basically that's what the story consists of. She wants to get Banjo back for what they did to her in the first game. Basically kill her, and that's what the story really consists about. Kyle, would you compare this game a lot darker than the first game?
Oh yeah, dude, definitely. Because, you know, when you play the original Banjo-Kazooie, it's like a real kid-friendly, colorful game. And when you go on to the second game, you notice it's a lot darker. It actually has death, like in the game. You know, bottles he gets killed off. That's pretty dark.
Yeah, I didn't expect that as a kid to see bottles get killed off, but you know, I mean, this game, like you said, you like this game a lot better because of its story and just progression through the game, right?
Yeah, actually, I would compare it a lot to how Ocarina of Time transitions from Majora's Mask, where you have a lot more colorful game, and then you go on to something that's real dark. I like shit like that. That's my thing.
You know, I totally agree with you on that. Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time was like a lot lighter, even though despite like Ganondorf taking over Hyrule and everything, Majora's Mask was a lot different due to like the spirits and the mask and everything. But I totally see where you're coming from with this Banjo comparison.
Yeah, it was definitely a huge turn for the game, because I didn't expect that when I got Banjo Tooie, because I played this game when it was brand new. I loved the first one. Yeah.
Well, that's really what the story consists of, guys. Right now, me and him are going to get more into depth about the gameplay and the graphics. So, with that being said, let's get into the gameplay on Banjo Tooie for the Nintendo 64. So guys, the gameplay is a lot different from the first game. There's so many differences between Banjo Tooie and Banjo-Kazooie. I mean, just despite the overwhelming, humble progression through this game, arriving in Jingo Village for the first time will register the sheer magnitude of this game. And mind you, there's a lot to do and explore here. Right, Kyle?
Oh yeah, and you also notice that the controls are a lot more advanced compared to the first game.
Yeah, I see that in the first game that, you know, they're so much different from the second game. And I know just the voices too. Even the grunting of Banjo is a lot different. And the levels are more bigger. I mean, in this time, you actually get to bring the Jingos back to their village. And I think that's a lot different from the first game.
Yeah, then like the evil jingles that are later on in the game.
Yeah, I remember the evil jingles. And you know what? I didn't even notice that until I tried to capture them, and then they tried going after me. I was like, "What the hell is this?"
Yeah, I have fond memories of that as a kid.
I mean, instead of having like levels that can be like complete and everything, I mean, don't you feel like these stages are a lot more like designed to tie in with each other?
Yeah, and I also really like the first-person aspect. That was a really cool addition.
Yeah, I like the first-person aspect, and you know what? In this game, there's a lot of death in this game. I mean, like you said, bottles. I know King Jiggy gets turned into like a zombie.
That scared the hell out of me when I was a kid, man.
Yeah, I know. And isn't there a lot more gameplay hours to play in this game? I think it's like 10 hours or more of content in this game. I mean, it could be overwhelming.
I think the stages are a lot bigger in this game. Like, for example, the Atlantis stage was absolutely massive.
Yeah, and I know the levels themselves like are really like richly designed compared to the first game.
Yeah, the original game had more stereotype levels, I guess you could say, like a haunted house.
Yeah. I mean, like I said in the first review, I know this is kind of like fairy tale, but let's talk about playing as Mumbo Jumbo. I mean, we get to play as Mumbo Jumbo in this game. What do you think of that?
I thought that was really cool, doing all the magic and stuff, because when you play the first game, you always think he's a real badass, you know, being able to transform you into different things. So being able to play as him was a huge, huge addition to the Banjo series.
I agree, and I mean, even though he doesn't really do transformations, we have Humbo Wumba to take over. I mean, in her tents and everything. Did you think of Humbo Wumba as kind of like Mumbo Jumbo's like girlfriend or sort? That's what I thought when I was a kid.
Yeah, kind of, but it's obvious that she doesn't really like him for whatever reason.
Yeah, and
she does transform you into some cool shit.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite transformations, like I was telling you before, was the dinosaur. You start off as a baby dinosaur, and then as you make her tent bigger from Mumbo's help, you become this huge T-Rex.
My favorite transformation is when you get turned into a truck. You get to run those motherfuckers over.
Yeah, I remember that level, the carnival level, right?
Yeah, that one was great.
And the only thing I didn't really like was the fact that sometimes you'd have to get Mumbo Jumbo to turn, like, you know, to do specific things to transform from Humbo Wumba. You'd have to get Mumbo's help. I mean, I did like that. At the same time, it was kind of annoying, but you know, it's just a minor little flaw here. I mean, do you have any flaws for this game?
Not that I can think of. Some of the music is kind of obnoxious, but that really doesn't, you know, make the game.
Yeah, I mean, overall, this gameplay is a lot better than the first game. I have to. So another thing I forgot to mention was the transformation of Kazooie. I mean, he turns into a dragon, and how this is achieved is by giving Humbo Wumba the Mega Globo, and this is the outside of the carnival. You obtain it. What do you think of this transformation?
I think it's actually pretty badass.
Yeah, I thought so too, and the fire breathing. And also I want to talk about the separation of Banjo and Kazooie. Finally, you get to get Kazooie out of the backpack, and I mean, you have to do different techniques with them too. I mean, in order to complete the levels. What did you think of that?
I thought that was pretty interesting, because you would never expect that, because you always think they're together. But one thing that I think they could have done was make this part co-op, where you could plug in another controller and, you know, you could actually do this part with another person.
That actually would have been pretty cool. Like, kind of, you know, you playing as Kazooie and me playing as Banjo. But, you know, I did like the separation, though, because, number one, Banjo gets to hit his backpack and swing it around, hit enemies, and then Kazooie, I think, kind of does, like, the spin with her feathers to attack another opponent. But overall, I really like that.
You're more vulnerable, though, when you're doing this, of course.
Yeah, and Kazooie gets to fly by herself, too. I mean, that's pretty cool, too. But other than that, I mean, the gameplay is awesome. I mean, now I want to talk about the graphics, though, because I have some complaints from the first game. So let's get into the graphics. So besides the graphics, I mean, I really have nothing else much to say about the graphics compared to the first game. I think they're a lot more clear and a lot more vibrant. Kyle, do you want to give your opinion on this?
I think they look exactly the same, to be honest with you.
Really? And how's that? I mean, what do you see? To me, they look kind of like more clear, and because if you see like Banjo, the way Banjo looks in the first game and the second game, he kind of looks more mature.
Yeah, I think he's a little bit older. He also sounds a little bit older.
Yeah,
kind of how they sound.
Yeah, kind of like with a deeper voice, right? And even the textures, like the texture of like each level it looks more clear and it looks more vibrant. I think they in the second game they like kind of like compared to the first game. I think like the overall world and everything, it looks like an actual world, kind of not like paper pasted on a background. You know what I mean? I mean, even if you walk into King Jiggy's like temple, you can see like the vibrant like gold color on the ground, like the puzzle pieces, and they're a lot more detailed. And like the puzzle pieces in the first game, they weren't really detailed. Even putting them into the like the frame, that's what I at least think about the graphics though.
The textures are a lot better, that's for sure. But it is a few years older.
Yeah, I do agree with you. It's a few years old. I think by 2 years actually. But I mean, I really have nothing else much more to say about the graphics. Like you said, it's kind of like the same, but a little bit more updated. Now to give our final verdict for this game, guys. Final conclusion for this game. Okay, my conclusion is Banjo Tooie to me is a wonderful game. The levels are fantastically crafted in my honest opinion. The humor is even more present and a lot care has gone into creating the adventure of epic proportions, and that's at least my opinion. My score and final verdict for this game, I'll give it a perfect 10, as simply because it overreaches the worlds and the worlds are a lot bigger. So it's a 10 out of 10 for me, masterpiece. And also because of the awesome transformations. Kyle, what about you, man?
Alright, well, it's going to be hard to say, but I think Banjo Tooie is one of the best N64 games of all time. Right up there with Majora's Mask and Conker's Bad Fur Day for me personally. Yeah, I tend to like sequels better, like Ocarina of Time. I like Majora's Mask better than that. Same with this game, Banjo Tooie. I think Banjo Tooie is a lot better. Better gameplay, better world, as you said. Mm-hmm. More innovative control. An absolute masterpiece of a game, also, as you said. Definitely one of my favorite N64 games, without a doubt. Everyone should check it out. Especially stay away from that awful piece of shit that Banjo-Kazooie nuts and bolts that doesn't even deserve to be a Banjo-Kazooie game. It's so bad. Anyway, I don't have to talk about that. You guys should just check out Banjo-Tooie. This has been a great review that me and Kirkle did here, and hopefully see you guys another time. Yeah,
I definitely, like I said, it's a charming story, and it deserves a 10 out of 10, like I said. But, yeah, nuts and bolts doesn't even compare to this game, how amazing it is. But thank you so much, Kyle, for reviewing this game with me, and hope you guys enjoyed our opinions. And like I said, we'll be reviewing more games to come together. Thank you, dude.
Take it easy, bro.
Take it easy.